So, hello there on planet Earth. Let's start with a question. Have you ever asked yourself why the Creator, why God says, for instance, no sex before marriage or outside marriage? Because if you look around you, there is not one God, not one religious leader, not one political leader, nobody in fact who can answer the question. Is God teasing mankind? Or does God have special reasons? Well, we are going to talk about this topic from A to Z. We're going to talk about this topic, no sex outside and before marriage. Why did God give human beings such a law? Are there reasons, or is there anyway just one reason? So we are going to go to the whole topic, and of course I want you to fine-tune and keep your attention from A to Z. So don't skip out, but just keep listening and following. And as that it can not be a form of interaction, but surely pay attention. So, let's go to this slide. How did God create humans? With what mechanism? That's a good question. And then here we see in answering those questions just two Bible verses, Genesis chapter 1 verse 1 to 4 and John chapter 1 verse 1 to 3. So it's Greek, and of course the majority of us do not know Greek, but what is important in these verses, in these chapters, is that the word arche is used in Genesis and John. The word arche has a special meaning in Greek. Normally it is translated with beginning, as in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, but it can also be translated with basic layer or principle or particle. And those definitions are important because it helps us to answer a part of the first question, that is that God, via principles and particles, created mankind. Okay, there was another part of the question, and here's the question again. We answered this part. How did God create us humans? And there's also another part with what mechanism. So, to answer that, we are going to Ephesians chapter 4 and Romans chapter 2 and Ephesians chapter 4 verse 17. And let's read that one until verse, 24. So we start in verse 17. This, therefore, I say, and bear witness to in the Lord that you no longer go on walking just as the nations also walk, in the unprofitableness of their minds, while they are in darkness mentally and alienated from the life that belongs to God because of the ignorance that is in them, because of the insensibility of their hearts. Having come to be past all moral sense, they gave themselves over to loose conduct, to work uncleanness of every sort, with greediness. Do you read that? With greediness. But you did not learn to the Christ to be so, provided indeed that you heard him and were taught by means of him, just as truth is in Jesus. That you should know that you should put correction away the old personality which conforms your former course of conduct and which is being corrected according to his deceptive desires, but that you should be made new in the force actuating your mind, and should put on the new personality, which was created according to God's will into righteousness and loyalty. So, what does this text say to us? Well, we see here that we have mental powers. So we have an ability to take in knowledge within us, because the Bible speaks about ignorance of the nations, and we have a figurative heart, the basis of our emotions, because we see here the expression insensibility, and of course a moral sense. Furthermore, we see that God speaks about a force actuating our mind. So we have a mind, and there is a certain force, overcoming power of God, the level of it, that can interact with our mind. And it's a question of our mind works exactly on quantum mechanics, etc. But the force itself has nothing to do with quantum mechanics or quantum fluctuations and that kind of stuff, that sort of stuff. So, in fact, God encourages us to work on the new personality. So we have to circumcise everything that is overdue in our personality characteristics and work on the new personality with the active force. And of course by taking in knowledge, biblical knowledge. We will come to that later. So Romans chapter 2, we are still talking about the mechanism. For whenever people of the nations that do not have law do by nature the things of the law, those people, although not having law, are a law to themselves. They are the very ones who demonstrate the matter of the law to be written, and here it comes, in their hearts. It's one element. And then, while their conscience, second, is bearing witness with them, and between their own thoughts they are being accused or even excused. And thought is the third one. And we have also read about other ones, such as the will and the mental capabilities and the fact that people can take knowledge in themselves, that ability. So it's a pattern of elements. So it's a whole coherence and a whole. You have to see it in a special context. So nothing stands apart from each other. It is always a coherence. In German they say, I'm going to use a German term, they say Zusammenhang. Alright? So that's the mechanism. So we have a conscience, a heart, we have the free will, and we have our mind. And there is an interworking between those elements, and information is coming from the intonation and to the brain and to the mind correction, and with the mind we are reasoning and checking with the conscience if something is according to a certain measurement or standard, a certain balance, a certain equilibrium. And if that is so in harmony with the eternal principles of God, then we make a decision. That is how it should have been. That is how it worked with Adam. Of course, it works with us in the same manner, but we do not focus on the eternal principles of God, the God of the Bible. By the way, the name of the God of the Bible is the Tetragrammaton. It's normally pronounced as Yehovah in Hebrew. Perhaps I shouldn't have used the word Hebrew in the context of what is happening on the earth. But this is the Bible and has nothing to do with that conflict in the Middle East. So let's continue. Next question.